just a small video about just another part in Rashee Rice's story. About a week ago, I did make that video about him, having the possibility of getting a half a game suspension. That blew up to over 1,300 views, which is the most popular, most viewed video on my YouTube channel. Appreciate everyone who watched it. If you're watching us right now, I appreciate all the support on that. Thank you so much. This one's going to be a small update to this one. It's not going to be as lengthy, or I'm going to try not to make it as lengthy. About another incident, not even a month after that one for the hit and run high speed in Dallas. This one is under investigation by the Dallas police, same area as well, for allegedly hitting a photographer at a nightclub. And I kind of want to just quickly read a article, give you a look at the gist and what this video is going to be about. It's about potentially getting cut. No doubt, Rashee Rice timeline. Will the Chiefs cut wide receiver with the suspension looming for the assault investigation and felony arrest? I'm going to read the first 3 paragraphs. Rashee Rice has had a rough offseason helping the Chiefs after a repeat as the Super Bowl champions. The second-year wide receiver has gone from standout on-field rookie to off-the-field concerns in a hurry. Rashee Rice's latest issue stems from an alleged assault of a photographer at a Dallas nightclub. This comes roughly a month after Rice surrendered to the Dallas police on April 10th after being charged with 8 felonies, including aggravated assault for a hit-and-run high-speed crash on March 30th. The NFL was doing its due diligence into a kind of disciplinary action Rice would face from the first incident as a violation of the league's personal conduct policy. Multiple reports have the Chiefs expecting a lengthy suspension up to the first half of the 2024 regular season. Give you a small gist about, at least the article, maybe a few others that have come out now about it, and get my thoughts on this. So in the first video about a week ago about Rashee Rice, I didn't think that they were going to cut him. And I could be wrong. I believe I did say that in the video, but my belief was I don't believe they were going to cut him. They were going to, it seemed like there was nothing. He was holding back anything. It kind of at first it reminded me of a Kareem Hunt situation. The difference is what really got him cut was just him kind of not being truthful to the organization. I've yet to see any reports saying Rashee Rice has not been truthful to the Chiefs, so I figured that they would keep him on the roster, and I certainly said in the video with who's going to step up, who's going to be wide receiver 1 when he's gone, if it is the first half of the season with Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, whoever that may be. I just couldn't imagine putting Rashee Rice back into that offense. Because I said, the Chiefs are going to be fine without Rashee Rice. He'll be back. They can manage with Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown. Still have Travis Kelce, best tight end in NFL on the team. So they can manage. And I couldn't even imagine putting Rashee Rice with those 3 guys, those 3 wide receivers with the speed they have, how that would even look. So there was no question the Chiefs would be fine without his absence. Now with this allegation, when I immediately saw this a few days ago when this came up, my first instinct was the Chiefs are. If I was the Chiefs, I would be done with Rashee Rice. I think this is too much. If you want to say that the initial incident with the high speed race, there was no prior problems with them. There's a one off. It's a first time thing. Okay, maybe there's a lot of people that think even the first offense with this that he should have got cut because of him being reckless. But if you want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say maybe this is just a one bad experience, one bad moment, one bad decision, okay. Now in a span of a month, you've had this as well, where he's allegedly assaulted a photographer, and the police are investigating into this now. Same area too as, of course, the high speed race on the highway. And there's more information that's come out about that as well, but it doesn't look good for me, for the Chiefs. And I think ultimately it's hard for me to believe the Chiefs would keep Rashee Rice on the roster. I'd be a little bit surprised, but I guess at the same time, seeing how athletes can get away with stuff, I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. But it's for me, I think I would lean toward the Chiefs letting go of Rashee Rice. I think they've shown you that they are capable of doing just fine without him. 2022 against their Super Bowl win against the Eagles with that receiving core, that should have been enough to tell you that they didn't have a Rashee Rice on that team, and they still managed to win. They won with Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney and Marquez Scantling. So I mean they have found ways to win, and certainly regardless if it was just, even if this never happened and it was just the first half of suspension, if that is true for the high speed chase. The race on the highway, they were still going to be perfectly fine. They were still going to manage. They have Marquise Brown, Xavier Worthy, Travis Kelce and a few other depth players, and they still have Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. However you feel about them as a receiver, they can find ways to win. There's no this was not like earth shattering. This wasn't like when people were talking about the Tyreek Hill trade. All the Chiefs are going to take a step back. They're going to fall off without having Tyreek Hill. Rashee Rice is nothing compared to him, so they can certainly manage without him. And I think that it's time to move off of Rashee Rice. I do. Is this someone like, I think eventually he will get an opportunity again in the NFL. It might be if it does happen, if they do release him, he might be sooner rather than later. But I do think that he will get an opportunity sometime down the future with the NFL team. Similar to like Kareem Hunt and countless other players in the same situation. But it's, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs need to move off of him. Enough of the distractions, the worry, if they're doing their own investigation, whatever that may be, into Rashee Rice. But at the end of the day, they should move off him. Cut bait. You essentially, if it does happen, you essentially drafted his replacement in Xavier Worthy, who you could argue maybe has a higher ceiling than Rashee Rice because of just the 40-yard dash, the capability of what he's able to do. Of course, he is smaller than Rashee Rice, but I mean, it's a similar mold. I mean, we know the MO for the Chiefs: speedy receivers. I mean, you go down the list with Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Rashee Rice, Marquise Brown, Xavier. The list just goes on and on. Tyreek Hill when they had him, they know the MO, what they want in a receiver. And I'm sure they have McCole Hartman, another one, solid wide receiver. So they can manage without him. And I think certainly if they had to find a replacement for Rashee Rice, they can find one and manage to be just fine. And these are the 3-time Super Bowl champions, 2-time champions without Tyreek Hill, without having an elite wide receiver. They can manage. I think it's for the Chiefs' sake and for for Andy Reid and that organization. I think it's time to cut bait and to walk away from Rashee Rice. Again, I'm sure it's sometime down the line he'll get an opportunity elsewhere. But for me personally, if I was the Chiefs, I would cut him, let him deal with the off the field stuff, whatever that may be. Some people think it might be prison time. I had some people kind of wrote to me on some comments, so that might be a possibility as well. But at the end of the day, I think it's best for the Chiefs' sake to walk away from Rashee Rice and to move off of them.